Commissioner at Large. Any discussion? Going once, going twice, I don't hear anybody. Anybody at their hand raised? Nobody asking. Question, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Edwards,
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
No.
Commissioner Isom,
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Seats,
Yes.
Commissioner Adams, Commissioner Clark Griffin,
Yes.
Mayor Muhammad, motion carried.
Now that brings us to the update for our very phenomenal Marion County Commissioner, Commissioner Yarborough. Thank you. Commissioner Yarborough.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Seats. To all of the commissioners, employees, and citizens, I thank you for this opportunity. Time goes by so fast. I have for you the possible foreclosure list for Berrien County. The people on this list have until March 31st to make some arrangement, to enter a payment plan, or pay all their taxes that are due. People that are on this list are 3 years behind in their taxes. We can't bring it until then. And I wanted just to take a bit of time. I have some of these papers that I'd like to leave with the clerk, and I don't have enough for everyone. Somehow as I come along with things, I see people that may need it or ask about it, and I'll see if I can get more. But these were in our newspaper also. I received them maybe twice. So I ask that if you will accept them, Madam Clerk. And what I'd just like to tell you is that there are a number of things that can be done, and hope you will share this with our residents as they ask or wonder about this. You have an opportunity to go into a show cause hearing on January 24th at the Berrien County Administration Building. And what happens is people come in the morning and they sign a sheet. And in a room, there is a panel of county commissioners, someone from social services, someone from treasurers from other communities that will be happy to listen to you and talk to you. And the treasurer's in there. And hopefully, if you'd like, she would even come up with a payment plan, something you could continue to do. And we suggest that when people enter a payment plan is that they do what they say they're going to do, and perhaps keep doing that, because as long as you own your house, you're going to always owe taxes. And so you could keep making $100 a month and just keep doing that. And hopefully that could help you keep caught up and be able to retain your property. And when you want to get rid of it, not that it was taken from you, but that you sold it or that you did something else with it. There's also a hearing that will be held at the court, a foreclosure hearing, and that's on February 14th, 2023. And some of the other things that you can do is enter that payment plan that I suggested, or you can pay all that is due. And the treasurer will let you know how much the payment plan is to get you caught up, paid, and off the delinquent list, and keep you going after you've caught up. Or you can let it go to the tax sale. And there has been a lot of movement and talk about it. We've been in court. And what has happened is when it goes into the tax sale and it's sold, then the law says now, or they're still debating it, not debating, still in court with it off and on, that if more is paid on that piece of property than you owe, you as the former owner have the opportunity to go to court and get that difference. I want you to know that. You can go to court, and must be some specific court that you go to and say that $100 was due. Somebody paid $5,000 for it. I want $499, whatever that minus is. And the law says you will receive it, but you have to ask for it. They don't automatically give it to you. Whereas many communities were doing all the things they needed to do with that extra money and what we used it for was fixing and repairing and demolition and all kinds of things like that. But unless when the person that owned that property and it's sold asks for their money back, then that money is given back. And so also the one other step that I had was last month I gave you the piece of paper where you could go to FEMA and request help with your mortgage and all those things. So there are a lot of things to do, and hopefully the clerk and staff, city manager, and all within the city has that information and things that can be of help to you. Don't give up. Don't give up easily. Work and see what you can find and do to keep your property. Because Benton Harbor was valuable. Benton Harbor still is
Thank you.
valuable. Probably the most valuable property anywhere. So don't forget that. And that's the information I wanted to give you. And if there are other things you need to know, call Berrien County Treasurer, 983-7111. I have to do it like this, I don't get too many ones in it, but they want to help you. So please get in touch with them, ask questions if someone is asking you don't know, or send them to the Berrien County Treasurer's Office to find out. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That valuable information.
Thank you.
A lot of people don't remember, but I'll help them remember when people have partnered to take property from the citizens of Benton Harbor. And even the LECO building was only supposed to be a certain amount. And they jacked the price up so high to get that money, and all of a sudden, the treasurer ran off and resigned. I don't remember his name, but he resigned. And then the 1 year, the property tax was so high that everybody came in and bought property, and then they put on a lawsuit. It happened in Detroit. Detroit started the lawsuit, and said that you can only take what they were owed. And what was happening is they were putting the money in the surplus and utilizing the money for everything they wanted to use.
Mhm.
And they said it was unfair to the homeowner who took care of the property, who utilized the property. You had senior citizens losing their property for $60, $200,
Yep.
and they were selling it for $30,000 and $40,000 and keeping the money
Yep.
on top of it. So now that money is owed back, and it was a coup. Everybody ain't innocent. It might be, they sitting back, but they ain't innocent. They were part of the problem.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it. Thank you very much
Thank you.
for your information. And please, Benton Harbor residents who are watching and listening, go to that hearing or go to the county commissioner and save your property, because your property is valuable. Thank you again. Citizen comments, we're at 3 minutes. Please state your name and hopefully where you reside, or you state your name and the city you live in. And you are free to say whatever you want to say. Not really. Do we have any?
Lakita Roman.
Thank you. Come on. Got the floor, Mr. Peter Walker.
I stay in River Terrace Apartments.
Can you please speak loud because you're being recorded, ma'am?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Well, I stay in the River Terrace Apartments. I actually been going through some stuff with the office, trying to talk to them. It's like no one's listening to me. Like then when they come and do inspections, they complain about bags being everywhere, but I barely have room for me and my 1-year-old daughter. So I've been staying in the 1-bedroom since March, and my daughter just turned 1 December 21st. So I don't know what else to do.
Please leave your name and your address with this young lady here, the clerk, and then we will make sure that either our management staff or our assistant manager will contact you to see what else further that you need to do that we can help you with your situation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
That's the only one?
Emma Kennard.
Good evening, everyone. Happy New Year to you all.
Thank you.
Happy New Year.
I'd like to say that perhaps I've been away for about a month in Texas. It's been with my children. But I'd like to get sort of caught up on a few things. I don't know if the audit has been done. I'd like to hear what the audit layout is and transparency of it from our new director here, and to have clear understanding of many areas as far as our water plant, what is owed as a balance there, what it was originally. And I want to know also on our city income tax, we had a board, but it was dissolved without my knowledge. I was on the board. And so all I knew is they wasn't calling any more meeting times or anything. So I want to get caught up on what is happening with that city income tax. And so I want a clear understanding. Also, when the emergency manager left, he had placed me in place with my background over all the gardens that would come into the community. Because we know that there's a lot of lead that is in our properties once houses are torn down or whatever. And so we have to have that lead, that the property test before you start growing things on it, because we want to have a safe lead level. And the city, on the contract, it's the contract that was set up with the city. Because that's how I get my water free, is to be in place for whatever their needs or understanding is for starting up a garden, that they have that info from me. All the years that that's been put in place, there's been little gardens started up and everything else, and they haven't consulted me. Anything that's going on concerning those gardens, I should have that information before we go forward, because that's a violation, because that's in place. It's a contract. So I'm addressing that now so that you all will be well aware that I will be paying close attention to a lot of these things that has been going on. And I will look forward to you. That's why I was so adamant about us having a financial manager so we can keep check of the dollars. You won't have the problems that many times you have if you got someone in place to track and be there and responsible for that. So that's why I stayed on you all so much. And so I hope things is running smooth. If it's not, now's the time to get your house in order. Miss Kennard has come to you time and time again. Some of these things surface after a while. Some of the things that I had brought to your attention. And so we got how many ears? You got two to each head to hear what I'm saying and see that it's done. The person that's head, get it in their ear and make sure that it's done.
You don't have to get up. You can stay right there. You said you had a contract.
It was put in here through, I think it was Saunders.
Do you got a copy of that we can get?
It's supposed to be in his office.
You got it?
It's supposed to be there in the file. Because
You don't have it?
I've got it, but it's hard for me to go through all of my papers. I know I can find it, but it is there.
Can you find it? Can you give it to the?
Yes, because each time that they renew my contract for where I got the garden set, it's 5 years. And as he called me into his office, he said, I will put you in and be responsible and the person to oversee that these people are knowledgeable as they start up these gardens, which I came to your building,
Yeah.
right? And worked with your mom.
Yes, you did.
And seen that garden was up. Commissioner Adams, I worked with her. But there's other little gardens that has popped up and everything that I had no way of knowing that they were even there until they were set up. So this is something that should be placed in order. It's supposed to be on your books. And so all you got to do is go in there and it got to be on record.
Well, if you can find it, and I'm gonna have the assistant city manager look for that contract. And
Miss Winters was the last person that I went in and sat down and she talked with me. I enjoy when someone sits down and we have a regular conversation concerning these things. This keeps us on track.
That's right.
Okay,
I appreciate everything you've done for the city.
thank you.
so much.
I just have one requested comment to read from Shaquille Turner.
Can we, go ahead.
He just states, Mayor, you stated repeatedly that if
The
a
mayor's not here.
I know.
With all due respect. But just go ahead and read it.
Mayor, you have stated repeatedly that if a resident have a question to email and or contact the city manager and commissioners, Well, that's not happening, so what's the next option? No more comments.
We will have Director Little respond to that email if possible. Thank you. Thank you all, your residents, for your comments and what you said. It is duly noted. I do believe that the city comments, the citizens' comments, is one of the most important parts of what we do. Consent calendar item, is there anything that we would want to be separated? Mr. Eisen?
Yes, the resolution to amend ordinances pertaining to the number of marijuana licenses.
Commissioner, Dr. Clark Griffin,
It was the same one as Commissioner Ice.
I do apologize for not calling him first. Commissioner Henry,
Same one.
Commissioner,
I ain't have my hand.
oh, you didn't, okay. Anybody else have anything they want to separate? Being that there's none, can we call the roll for that consent calendar items other than the resolution to amend ordinance?
Can I have a motion, please?
Can we have a motion to approve?
Motion approved.
Thank you. Motion's been called by Commissioner Ronald Singleton, Commissioner at Large, and it's also been supported by Commissioner Sharon Henderson. Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Henderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner Isom,
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Seats,
Yes.
Commissioner Adams, Commissioner Clark Griffin,
Yes.
Commissioner Edwards,
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed, motion carried.
Now we have the resolution which will be read by, resolution to amend the number of marijuana, here. Can you read that for us, Deputy City Manager?
Certainly, sir.
Thank you.
Amendment to the number of marijuana licenses. Item before the commission, a resolution to amend ordinances 060320-1 and 072222-1 pertaining to the number of marijuana licenses. Recommendation, the Benton Harbor City Commission approves an amendment to ordinances 060320-1 and 072222-1, combining the medical marijuana and adult use marijuana licenses allowable in the city. Justification. Initially, a medical marijuana license was a prerequisite to being able to acquire an adult use license. However, as of March 22nd, 2021, the law changed that requirement. And as a result, many of the authorized medical marijuana licenses and many of the classifications of adult use licenses were not being applied for or used. The greatest demand is for Class C growers and adult use retail licenses. It is in the city's best interest to amend the total licenses authorized in the previous classifications under both ordinances in order to better respond to the need and to enhance the overall marijuana business program. Financial impact, any increase in available licenses would provide additional tax base as well as annual permit fees.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Support.
Discussion? Thank you, Commissioner Dr. Clark Griffin.
Okay, to my understanding, they're asking for 3 more, I guess, license to open some, business. Also consumption, I've seen 6 consumption centers. Now, is that, I'm not familiar with marijuana, but to my knowledge, is that where they can sit down and use it? Okay, so that is what that is. So they want 6 buildings to use it. And from what I'm hearing, it's mostly in the downtown area. We already have 6 downtown that I know of that's right by each other. And to me, that's more competition. Somebody ain't gonna survive. It's what point do we stop? And you can't say it's not been any incidents, because I know I was at the park in the summer and a guy fell out and they had to call the ambulance. Also, Christmas time, one of the facilities was broke in. From my understanding, they did catch the person and the stuff was recovered, but it was incident. It still happened. We got a lot of young entrepreneurs right in Ben Harbor looking for buildings and places and business to open. I can see we need retail stores, grocery stores, cultural restaurant, laundromat, a lot of more things that we need that need to be brought than us just study doing the same thing. That's all.
Thank you, Commissioner Griffin. Anybody else? Assistant City Manager would like to, I think, you sure? All right.
I would just like to clarify, I think there's a misunderstanding about the consumption centers. Those are not, the intent there is that these 6 consumption centers would be available to the 6 licensees that already have provision if they chose to do so. At this point in time, we had interest expressed from only 2 and none have been issued.
Right. Thank you. Commissioner at Large, Edward Lee Isom.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. We, this came to the legislative committee, and we vetted it out, talked about it. As I looked at it, for me, I can see the growth. Add more Class C growers, but for the provisional centers, retail, we got 6, we got 3 operating now. I say let's see how we do with the 6. The 6, we have not the 3 that we got now, and we know we got 3 more coming. Let's see what, it haven't been a year yet that we ran full sales and all that. Let's just see what we do with the 6 or the 3, how that operate. We don't want to saturate the downtown. I have nothing against marijuana, edibles, or all that. Sales, but I know we're bringing revenue, jobs. But this, I concur with Commissioner down there at the end, Fort Ward. We need, fresh produce, dry cleaners, laundromat, something that other things people can come downtown and do, But if we can keep it at 6 consumption, 6 provision, I think that's good. Matches, just in case the provision centers want to get a consumption. I don't think they can have them housed in the same building. I don't think they can have them housed in the same.
Through the chair.
So, I can support the growth, add more grow opportunities, Class C, but in the 6 consumption, but I say we keep provision centers at 6. And Mr. Little did a great job of explaining it and bringing it to us. Thank you, Director Little.
That's it. Commissioner Ron Singleton.
Thank you. No, guess looking at this, only number that's going past, the 6 is in the growers class and then the retail facility. Yeah. Is there an, I don't know, the attorney might can answer that through the chair, time limit on those who have applied for those 6? Is it, do the clock run out at some time when they don't get operated, hold them forever?
So if someone's been granted a license or a permit from the city to operate or open a grow seed, and then they just hold on to the permit. So they have to go through a process, you have to get a special use permit, and special use permits are I think are only good for a year. And and I think we've gone through this process where we've reached out to those businesses that have not, and we've required that they provide us with an explanation of why they haven't opened and an ETA and a plan for going forward, so that the city can say, okay, well, you've got this, okay, you're telling us it's gonna be another 5 months, then, okay, we'll hold you to that. But so technically it's a year, but I think we've given extensions to several, but with a plan that was provided to the city.
But at some point, we can say, hey, you went on too long,
Yes,
we need to move on.
yeah, they just can't hold on to, I know some municipalities have allowed it to happen where that someone can hold on to a permit indefinitely and in the hope of selling it, right? So, but we're working hard not to do that.
Can I interject there? I believe Redbud Roots did sell theirs to somebody else. Yeah, right here.
Well, they did that, but it's gotta go through city approval.
Well, it never been approved by the city, I don't think. That has nothing to do with me.
My last
You gotta
communication,
speak up, please.
my last communication with Redbud Roots was to explain to them that they could not just outright sell that they could have other investors in the ownership, but they couldn't just sell it, because the way the original ordinance is written, if they failed to open, then there were others who were waiting in line for them.
And what they could try to do is they could try to keep Redbud Roots LLC, but then change ownership of the LLC. But if they did that, it requires that they go through the same background checks and the same. So it's kind of like playing.
Yeah, GLH, they never came to this body. I don't remember them, but they could have. I don't have anything with them on there, but I know Redbud Roots was the one that we voted on.
Yeah.
Getting that original licensing back 3 years ago, before anybody came to the community.
Right.
That was Redbud Roots, and the ones that won, now Redbud Roots have pulled out. So, that's just a point of information. Has nothing to do with anything else, but they did pull out. Any other questions?
Go back to my concern, is
Commissioner Single has the floor.
Yeah. The increase, I think that 6, I've been hearing a lot of chatter from citizens and people concerned that they do feel that, going over that amount will, like oversaturate, we haven't reached that 6 yet, so I'm wondering if once we reach that 6 and see how those things go, if it's, go back and do it, but we haven't even reached, we halfway to the 6. So that's just my thoughts on it.
Thank you. Any other, or anybody conversation or whatever y'all want to do with it?
One of the conversations that we had in the committee was about.
Commissioner Henderson has been recognized.
Thank you, Chair. One of the conversations we had in the committee was around the micro businesses that we really want to see flourish and to begin, because none of those licenses have been activated, because I guess people are still figuring out how to do a micro business. And those licenses were meant for local and community people. So what I would suggest is moving that number to maybe the micro businesses to allow more of the community people that may be interested in opening up one of the micro businesses to be able to do so. But right now we have 3 licenses with the micro businesses. And so, but to today's, no one has opened up any of those micro businesses.
Right.
Thank
Where
you.
they can grow, they can sell, they can do all of that out of a micro business.
Commissioner Henry.
Thank you, Chair. My problem with the consumption, facilities is that we're giving it all to medical and recreational licensees. And we already got a lot of millionaires and that's in our community, and some are pulling out because of so many, them competing for so many businesses, so unless, if we're gonna allow consumption, and I hear consumption is being allowed in a lot of other communities, and that there is some people that want to consume, I would suggest not to just let the medical and the recreational have it. And this is, consumption is a easier small business to open up than the micro business. So if we're gonna let them have it, I have a problem with that. And 4.5 miles city is not a whole lot of avenues. And I just think that I was great for the recreational and the medical, but I just think that we're just too flooded right now to put more growers or more provisional centers. I'll ask the attorney, what is the difference between the retail facility and the provisioning center?
Okay, well, so the retail facility, so initially, the medical marijuana, the provisioning centers is where consumers went to purchase medical marijuana for medical purposes, right? And then when they created the adult use, they changed some of the language around and they created this retail establishment or retail facility, which was meant to encompass adult use and starting to encompass also medical marijuana, because that was the time where they were starting to combine the two, but they were still trying to figure the laws out and the differences out, trying to build an airplane while you're flying it, right? So the retail facility, it was essentially meant to differentiate between adult use and medical marijuana. But now it kind of means the same, and that's why our ordinance, our adult use ordinance talks about, that's why they did combine them, so that the total allowed permits for retail facility, whether it be adult use or medical, was 6. So whether, we had 3 and 3, 4 and 2, 5 and 1, it didn't matter. We hit that, once we hit that 6 number, we cut it off. And the ordinance allows us to revisit the numbers. I don't really have any input on the numbers, but I just want to make sure that that the ordinance is clear, so that's the difference between provisioning and the retail. Consumption is a place where someone goes and buys the marijuana, smokes it, or uses the edible or whatever.
Sure.
If they're driving, I don't get it, and Mr. Clark can speak to that. There's no, if you have even the smallest bit of THC in your limit, you're in trouble. So I'm not sure how, unless they're walking, seems like a mess to me.
Yeah, let's stick to the ordinance, please, if we can.
Okay, all right, I got that answer, thank you, but now I need to ask for me an understanding. So this new amendment is trying to allow the 6 regular provision and center, and 6 what? Retail facility. 9 retail facility?
So
Is that what they're saying?
Director Little has the floor, please.
What was occurring here is this. Of the Class A growers and the Class B growers, there's only been one that has been applied for. Class C growers, we had before applied for, and there's been interest in others applying for them because the 1,500 plants they're more interested in than the smaller ones. Transporters, there have been none. Safety compliance, there have been none. Micro business, there have been none. Those are the same 3 that were initially there. And the thing we're clarifying here is that there's no separate 3 for medical and no separate 3 for adult. The micro business, the same thing. Consumption center is going to be differentiated by who wants to make the investment in the facility, because the requirements in the act for the consumption center are that they be contained in a building where people can smoke inside and you not be able to detect that outside of that building, which means special kinds of draft and inhalation and that type of thing. So, and the idea was that the consumption centers, people would be, as you suggest, they'll be sitting or staying in the facility for an extended period of time. If they're smart, as the attorney said, they wouldn't be getting out driving with it in their blood and whatnot. That might offer an opportunity for people who are staying around doing that to shop or do other things in the downtown area. The provision and center and retail facility, the 6 is already locked in, so to speak, because the 6 that got the initial licenses also got the retail facilities. Now, as you pointed out, only 3 are operational. The state's monetary payments to the communities that have these is based on the number of them you have, not the amount of sales or anything else. It's on the number of the facilities you have. You get a flat amount for each one. So if we had 6 functioning, you would get 6 times that amount as opposed to 3 times. Now, at what point we're going to terminate or cut off those others, I'm not sure. But at this point, we do have additional interest from people in retail facilities. I've got 2 right now that are asking about them. If you've been watching the newspapers, you know that Benton Township is considering allowing retail facilities, and Stevensville is doing something to allow retail facilities. If we don't increase it, it's not a problem. They'll find some place to go. But if we do increase it, then chances are maybe we'll make that 6 where we can get the amount of payment that would come from it. So it's entirely up to you, however you feel about it.
Thank you.
Commissioner Henry.
That's interesting when you start talking about money. Because that's one thing that brought us all into medical marijuana, when we start talking about money. But I have to ask later on to attorney, I thought that the state gave us sales tax, a certain percentage of sales tax money that came off of the sales of marijuana. But maybe, maybe I'm wrong, but we'll ask that question later from you. I would agree that the city needs the money, for all sorts of things. But I also see how the money is being spent. Our priorities are not focused on the residents. Our priority is focused on infrastructure and brick and mortar. So I would agree that if these are additional monies coming into the city, that it should be geared especially for the residents of Benton Harbor. Otherwise, I will not agree to this because of the fact that poverty is the only thing that's gonna to help us is we solve poverty. And the only way to solve poverty is allow somebody to go into a small business or have a job. And so if we're not gonna put things in place to protect the residents in the future, it's just allowing gentrification to take a bigger hold than it is now. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Henry. Commissioner Edward Eisen.
Yes, from the Personnel and Finance Committee, I just want to be heard that Noble, we hit from last year, was the only center opening. I don't think they was open a year. And off that license, I think we got $56,000.
Thank you for that information. Commissioner Ron Singleton, please.
So numbers on, I guess my only one was definitely the retail facilities. The other numbers, see have what clutter factor or something, but the retail facilities, it's like, had too many. I know it was competition, somebody ain't gonna supply it, but 6, we already got 6. We got 6, but we haven't reached that number yet. So, but the other numbers, I can them, but that retail facility moving from 6 to 9, kind of.
Commissioner Edwards.
Yes, so, thank you, Chair. I was thinking with the adding on and not saturate just one area, would it be possible, I guess, along with the master plan, they could be situated in other areas of the city, for instance, over where Milton is, there's one over there.
Thank you, Commissioner Edwards.
I would just, like to make a recommendation.
Commissioner Henderson has the floor.
I'd like to make a recommendation to just change the number so that we can change the number to 6, from 9 to 6, and go from there. That's the recommendation that I would make at this point.
Change what now?
From the retail provisionings back to 6. Be done.
It's been asked, is that a support? Just from 9 to 6, we already got 6 as in support.
Support.
It has been motioned by Commissioner Henderson, it's been supported by Commissioner Singleton. I will be abstaining from this vote. So if you can call the roll, clerk.
Commissioner Henry,
No.
Commissioner Isom,
Can we get some clarity now? We just changing,
9 to 6.
it's already at 6. So we're keeping the 6.
Or they were
In
adding,
this particular resolution.
this resolution was adding 3.
Oh, okay.
Commissioner Henderson said that she put it in place that if we change that number from 9 to 6.
Keep the rest. All right. Yes.
Commissioner Singleton,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Seats,
Abstaining.
Commissioner Adams,
Point of order. Oh, that's okay.
Commissioner Adams, Commissioner Clark Griffin,
Point of clarity, Commissioner Anderson say leave it basically at where it's at for the retail, but then it's also asking for 6 consumption center, right? That's different, that's new, right? Okay, so no.
Commissioner Edwards,
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson.
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed is absent, motion failed.
Okay.
All right, that brings us to staff comments. We will start tonight with our city assessor.
Thank you. I don't have much to comment on tonight. I'm entering my busy season, so working on the sales studies and preliminary values for 2023. As we move into next month, personal property statements will be due back to my office. Any small businesses may be eligible for an exemption for that. If you're wondering, just give me a call. That is it for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Lovett Financial Chairman.
Okay, thank you. And just a few pointers. I'm not going to go into too much detail because we have the Personnel and Finance Committee meeting tomorrow. In regard to the audit, we have the auditor that performed the audit that's going to come in and going to explain a few bullet points. So I'm not going to go into detail about the audit tomorrow. I'm going to get some clarity from him. And then once I get that clarity, then I'm going to go into detail, explaining everything line by line what took place. Commissioner Henderson, I did not forget about the leased vehicles that you wanted for the monthly amount. I'm going to present that tomorrow also at the Personnel and Finance Committee meeting. Commissioner Henry, what you was asking about the sales tax in terms of medical marijuana, there is a 10% excise tax on marijuana products. Notice marijuana products, not medical marijuana, so it encompasses all of it. In addition to the 6% Michigan sales tax, so it's a combination of 16% for that. And Commissioner Henry also was inquiring about the legal fees and the engineering costs. I'm going to follow tomorrow on that as well. And at that point, thank you. That's it.
City Attorney.
Maybe just to quickly add something to our county commissioner's update regarding the surplus petition to the county. So if the property is sold and it sells for more than what the taxes and the interest are, you have a very limited window to make that application. So it would be, and I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but it's I remember seeing it last year and thinking that's not a lot of time. And I've also seen where there are law firms from out of town and out of state who will say, we'll help you get your money and we'll take a third, and we'll take it contingent. But you're gonna get your money back if you file the right forms. So be careful about who you're choosing to help you get your money, because legal aid through the county might be able to help. If you talk to the treasurer, there's a form that they can give you. So you might not have to lose 30% of those surplus funds to someone who's just gonna do absolutely bare minimum and take a third, when it doesn't take a lot of work, and you just have to actually fill out the petition and give it to the I think it's to the circuit court and to the treasurer. So just be careful.
It may file with the treasurer.
Okay,
That
yeah.
may be where I think.
It's with the court and with the
Thank
treasurer.
you. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. If you have any questions concerning that, people online, please feel free to contact our city attorney or our city manager or our county commissioner to be able to give you that information. Beloved Public Safety Deputy Director.
Good evening. Just to help out real quick with the sales tax and the excise tax on the medical marijuana and products. That excise tax goes to the state, that pools in, and that's where that amount per facility comes from. So that additional sales excise tax doesn't come to the city directly. It goes to the state, and then they have the formula based on how many dispensaries there are throughout the state, and we get a percentage of a percentage. So that's how that works. And other than that, public safety, I don't have anything else for this evening.
Thank you for your hard work and your determination. City Clerk.
I have my fingers crossed that this chamber upgrade will be done by the end of the week.
With the microphones working?
They are not, they had some technical difficulties today, so that's why I'm saying by the end of the week.
Thank you. Phenomenal. Those who know, need to even announce his name. He's been doing an excellent job. We do appreciate Director Little for being here tonight, standing instead of our city manager. Director Little, thank you.
Thank you, sir. I'd just like to mention just a couple of things sort of for the good of the order. Had a discussion today with a citizen that was somewhat irate because an unpaid water bill that was run up by a tenant who left is now on the landlord's taxes. And his complaint, as he was expressing to me, was that I didn't know that that's how it worked. And somebody should have told me. And I explained to him that I certainly understand his plight and his frustration. But I said, unfortunately, government doesn't work that way. They pass laws all the time, driver's laws and whatnot. Nobody comes to you and tells you laws change, you gotta do this. It's your responsibility to know. And he was saying about, well, when did they do this? I said, I suspect that it was enabled by the charter when it was done back in 1921 and 1945, and probably been updated with ordinances since. And I went and got copies and sent them to him. Well, I just mentioned that so that for anybody who might be listening, if you're landlords, do understand that if that water bill is on your property and it's not paid, and that tenant leaves, that may fall back on your taxes and you may have to pay. One other point, sorry.
Just for a point of clarity, you're saying that if the water bill is in the tenant's name, then it goes on to the landlord if they leave the bill there.
That's correct.
That's almost borderline illegal, isn't it?
So that's kind of right. So what happens is, there's state law that allows, and it's approved by, it's part of HUD as well, that says that if a landlord is, rents the building and the lease says that the tenant is responsible for the utilities like the water bill, and then the landlord goes in and signs an affidavit with the water department, and that says the tenant is responsible for the water bill. I'm not. And so if the affidavit is filed with the water department and the lease says that, then the property owner is not responsible for the water bill. Because normally the water bill is the only thing that goes on to the tax, the only utility.
So that's almost, and I don't want to start this tonight because it's almost conflicted. Because what Mr. Little said is that if the tenant leaves the bill and it's in their name, it goes to the landlord, but you're saying if the lease says that they're responsible.
And the landlord files an affidavit.
And the affidavit, which usually the landlord, if he's smart, will file it, it goes to the tenant.
Right.
So it does not go on the tax.
Correct.
So I think that we do definitely need to get together on that. because, and the city of Ben Harbor told people don't pay their water bill for a year, and when they wasn't paying their water bill for a year, somehow we put it on everybody's taxes, regardless if it was on the landlord or it was on the tenant. They went on that house's taxes. And so people escrow shot up 4 and 5 times because they had not paid that water bill when they were having water that they could not use. And you told them don't drink it, don't brush their teeth, don't cook with it, but then we put it on their water bill. So I think that there needs to be something that comes from the city that states what needs to happen, because you cannot charge people for water that they cannot use. So, well, you told them don't pay their water bill, and then we gave them $30, $40, we gave them $300, but then they told them for a year don't pay their water bill. Is that correct or not? Did we tell them not to pay their water? We didn't pass a motion there not to pay their water?
No. And
What we
we
tell
only, and we only charge them for the water they use. We don't charge them for water.
So you don't charge them for, no, I'm talking about the water that comes out the spigot. They'll get charged,
Right,
right?
correct.
Even if they had a lead line or not, they'll be charged for the water that came out the spigot, right?
Because they're allowed to wash their clothes.
They will be charged for the water that came out the spigot, yes or no? Yes, right? No?
Yes.
All right, that's what I'm saying. So if they were charged for the water that was coming out the spigot, then we told them, don't pay their water bills for a certain amount of time. I was there, I thought we passed.
We had a moratorium.
We had a moratorium on shut-offs, I'm sorry. Moratorium on shut-offs, I apologize. I get it right. Moratorium on shut-offs. We said don't shut off the water for a certain amount of time, right? But we were still charging them for water that was not good. I concur with some residents, because if you tell me don't use no water, that's like telling me don't use gas, but you still charge me full price for it at the house. We need to come out with something that tells them why. Because a lot of people weren't even brushing their teeth with that water. They wasn't doing nothing with that water. So this municipality, some house cleaning that needs to happen. I think the residents, and whether we like it or not, the residents is the one that's paying our bills or paying the bill for the city. So, if you tell them one thing and then explain it to them. Because they said the moratorium for shut-off was said, don't pay the water. So I think we need to come back out and tell them there's no more moratorium, pay that water and get shut off. Because all the lead lines are gone now, they say it's up 25. But then what do you tell the 25?
It's their fault that it's not done because they
Well, they did a little,
allowed access.
they did a little tricky game. They was shutting people water off, acting like they was frozen.
Chair.
On the chair, how you gonna point like that? They did a little tricky game. They were cutting people water off and acting like it was froze, put a new water line in there. But I'm gonna go ahead. It's on Commissioner Ethel Clark. Matter of fact, Commissioner Henderson, I think you got something more. Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Henderson. Commissioner,
So you don't Commissioner Thomas?
yes, what's your comment? Yeah.
Yes, he started with board number 1. Thank you, Chair.
Appreciate it.
Just like to thank the residents for coming out and for all of the residents that commented. I'd just like to say that when we talk about doing things for the residents, infrastructure is included in things that need to be done in the city. The roads, the lead pipes and all of those things are to improve the quality of life for people living in our community. That includes that as well. And so as a government, as a city, that is also a part of our responsibility as it relates to the residents who live in and reside in and work in the city of Benton Harbor. And so just wanted to make sure that people understood that infrastructure work is also something that's being done for the residents in the community. So people are not riding down the streets tearing up their expensive tires, which we got calls about, and that kind of thing. Sinkholes happening in the city, leaks, sewer, all those kinds of things that still need to be repair for some of our residents. So that is a part of the care that, as a government, that we need to give to our residents. So I'd like to thank again everybody for coming out and for being a part of what's happening in the city. And just a reminder, we have a lot of committees that have vacancies. There were a couple people serving on boards who did not live in the city, and so we're having to replace some of those members. Some of our boards require that you live in the city of Benton Harbor, and some are just, you can serve no matter where you live at. And so we have a number of vacancies on boards, and so I would implore, if you know somebody that wanted to serve, that would be great to serve on one of those boards, let them know, get that information out to them as well. Thank you, and have a great evening.
Commissioner, Edwards.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Like to say good evening to everybody. Thank you for coming out in this nice city. Well, like to thank the young lady, can't get her name, from River Terrace, and she did call me. Somebody got in touch with her, told her to call me about the River Terrace problem, even though that's not my ward. I just told her to come down and voice her opinion, since housing is under the spotlight at the moment. It's best time to try to get something done. The question I always get is housing a city in a city with its separate rules, because of the past. Is that because they had their own rules and they were untouchable? No. So the answer to that is no. I think it's just a matter of, old people say, you can tell when somebody coming, just listen for the squeaky wheels. You're gonna sneak up on them, all the wheels, and you sneak up on them. So I'm saying that I guess enough noise was made, and it should be continue to be made. Are they doing anything over there? Yes, they are. I won't go into detail. Sometimes you don't need to keep poking and keep poking, but yes, they are doing something. And I'll leave it at that. Outside of that, if anybody, I'll repeat it again, if anybody wants to take a tour and see what's going on, you won't see what happened in Christmas. So you don't expect that. But if anybody wants to, give me a call. I'll escort you over there if you're afraid for whatever reason. For whatever reason. I'll meet you outside and we can walk over there. And if you feel safe, you can go to my apartment. If not, open up your ears. I hope you don't hear the wrong thing. Other than that, I'd like to say, love everybody in here. Hope to see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Henry.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I want to thank the citizens for coming out tonight, and if you're on YouTube, thank you for listening in. There's a lot going on, and I heard Commissioner Edwards talk about the squeaky wheel, and that's what we have to do, be the squeaky wheel. And then you get the order. If you don't squeak, if you don't tell us that you got a problem, we won't know that you got a problem. Thank you for showing up. That's it for me.
Thank you. Commissioner Clark Griffin.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming out tonight. And as I stated earlier, we got a lot of young entrepreneurs in Benton Harbor that's looking for buildings, that need places, you know. A lot of them are doing business, you know, out of their home or wherever they can, or even just when they're doing vendor events. So I would like the planning economic to start seeking stuff of that, you know, to help the young entrepreneurs, you know. Also, like I said, retail stores, I know downtown's my ward, in 4th Ward, and it's prospering, and I'm glad about that. But I want the whole Benton Harbor to prosper. We need retail stores, we need grocery stores, we need cultural restaurant, laundromat, whole lot of stuff throughout the city. You know, we shouldn't have to go everywhere else to get things we need. And not just grocery stores, health with healthy stuff, you know? So I just wanna see the whole city prosper. I wanna see us all win, and let's seek some stuff to help and go towards that direction. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you so much. Mr. Singleton.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Thank everybody for coming out. Not much to say tonight. Do like to see that contract Ms. Kennard was talking about. So if anybody run across it, they need a copy. I was just wondering, you know, with private gardens, you know, did that contract say you have to contact the city about your private garden? I guess won't know until see the contract. Public Safety Committee meeting, we just had one, gave updates on the park information. Public Safety gave updates, with the fire academies, I guess we just had some completion. I think another one's getting ready to get started. And there's also been some research done as far as the police side, but we won't want to speak on that right now, but we'll be doing that probably in the next couple of public safety committee meetings. I think it'll be a good thing, but don't want to give it away right now. So until we get all the parts together, it's pretty much it.
Thank you, Mr. Ron Simpson. Director Little, I do apologize. He sent me a note, said I took his time, so he didn't claim his time.
Well, I had
Claim me time, I'm sorry, sir.
two items I wanted to share tonight, but to close on the first one, as you heard our attorney say, if it's in the lease that the tenant's paying the water bill and the homeowner files something with the water department so that the city has knowledge, then it doesn't go on the property owner's taxes, is that correct?
Right, it's called the Municipal Water Lien Act.
Right. And if they fail to do that, even if it's in the lease and they don't, then it's gonna wind up on the taxes. And the only point in sharing that is that the point was being made that people don't know, and it's perhaps factual, so we wanna mention that. The other thing I wanted to mention, just from a personal experience, a lot of people, and a lot of us, and a lot of our family members are getting older. And as that occurs and people get ill and so forth, give some thought to making sure that you or your relative who may be getting ill, prepare a power of attorney for whoever they want to make decisions for. Financial power of attorney, a power of attorney, a health power of attorney, so they can make decisions about what to do if you become incapacitated. It may even be, depending upon resources and so forth, worthwhile to consult an attorney about trust and wills and so forth, so that everything doesn't wind up in a probate situation. I just throw that out there for people to think about, because this life happens, and we suddenly look up and a brother or a cousin or a parent or somebody is suddenly incapacitated, and all those problems come in on you. So I just want that out. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to congratulate Commissioner Isaac for the Martin Luther King Award they received yesterday.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
But,
I gotta thank everybody for coming out.
The statue, right? No, I'm sorry. I apologize.
Thank everybody for coming out tonight. Mr. Kennard, good to have you back. Good to hear your voice. Keep us bright up in here. And I want to thank Mrs. Roman for coming, asking for help. It's good. Help.
help. Came to the right place, you know. There's nothing wrong with asking for help. You know. Commissioner Yarborough for an update. Thank you for the information.
Thank you.
You know, the update and the information. Well said. Well said. MLK Day, we had a good breakfast out there at the college. Good speakers, the mayor spoke, Jerry Price. Ms. Ashley Hines was awarded a award. Yep. So the Browns award, Mr. Gunn. Yeah, so, and the young man, talk to the young man too. One of the Boys and Girls Club.
John Sam?
Donovan, yeah. So, yeah, it's a great day out there, great speakers, and it's great. It was nice out there. The choir, man, they did a song. I wish I could do it for you. You know, they were clapping their hands. And it was something to see that unity. You know, little kids doing that unity. So, look forward to the Martin Luther King statue coming next year. The artist was there to talk about it and be right downtown like we wanted it. Commission. It was a great commission. Thank you. We got this. Expect great things. It's happening. Expect great things. Look at that. Look at that. Look at it. We're gonna be on there next week. Pow, pow, pow. Expect great things. And personnel finance meeting tomorrow at 5:30. We'll have good information there. Come out, see where your money's been well spent and where it's going and how much we got. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Henry. Thank you. That's it. All right.
You're welcome.
I want to say thank you to the residents for tonight's meeting. I believe we did get a lot accomplished.
Yes.
I will say on behalf of the mayor had all expectancy to be here, but the mayor is doing some greater things out in another area representing us and the United States of America, which is very well needed. There's money and resources coming down to help revitalize and rebuild a lot of things in our community, which we need to pay attention because there's no use of money bypassing you when money can be used or attracted to you for what you're doing. One thing the Honorable Wilson Cook said to somebody before, he said, you don't want to fight that building downtown, which means City Hall. You do want to become a partner. I believe the City Hall has helped a lot of people coming over that bridge. And I hate to say it, on New Year's Day, I can see a lot that in the 12 years, 13 years that I've been here, and we've helped negotiate, we've helped put in place, we've helped become done, not just in the downtown area, but in the uptown area with NSP2, NSP1, housing, and that which housing is to come. This, you can say what you want or will. A lot of the most people complaining about what's not being done in Benton Harbor have gotten more money than anybody off the state of Benton Harbor that's going on. I do appreciate this board who we have here. Everybody works in their own area, and yet they're getting things done. I do commend Director Little for getting our HUD dollars on track, because without him, we were losing millions and millions of dollars. So he did that. He went and got that orchestrated without the help of anybody. And I did hear about Harbor Towers, and I'm not gonna go down there and be, I don't need an escort, but, I'm gonna go down there and do check on what's going on, but it's up to us. We are the one that appoint boards. We're the one that appoint people to look out for these individuals. And when we allow people not to do what they're supposed to do, and the residency, because honestly, we talk about slumlords, but Benton Harbor City is one of the biggest landlords in our area, and they have two of the biggest buildings in our areas that need to be upkept. And so I believe the beloved mayor did say that there's money that's going into rehabilitation of Harbor Towers. There's money that's going into rehabilitation of River Terrace. But it's still our hopes and prayers that when they're displaced, they have a place. Because they are going to be displaced for a period of time. And it's up to us to do something. I do hope that this year is a great year for everyone. And that everyone can somehow work together to get some things done. I do hope our public safety, it's a prayer of everybody that they all make it home safe every night. Last year, we could have lost a couple of our officers, but thanks be unto God, they did not lose their lives. So working together, we'll get a lot done. I want to say something, and in the last 1 minute that I do have, we listen to a lot of rhetoric in our city about what's not happening and what people are not doing, and the name calling of commissioners and commission members. But one thing I would ask people that are calling names and saying different things about the commission, what have they literally done in the city that they can put a stake on that say they've done, not to make money, not to make a name, but they have done it. And you'll see this whole body that is sitting here, most of them that have been here for years, have a lot they can say that they've accomplished and they've done. I just would love to have these 25 lead lines out the ground. Please feel free, everybody, take one of these. Your house might have lead. They going to everybody else in the city of Benton Harbor to make sure every aspect of lead is out your house. Whether it's windows, doors, roofing, siding, the only thing you need to qualify is to live in the inner city of Benton Harbor. So please find that as a resource to help you and help our children. And I do lastly thank Commissioner Henderson for hard work that she does in the public education system. She allowed me to come in there with a bunch of young students that need adult leadership, not adult bickering, fighting, but adult leadership. And it meant the world to see kids that need leadership, but want leadership, and don't have leadership. So me and Commissioner Singleton have decided that we're going to give them tomorrow 200 pairs of gloves. We're going to give that school, me and Commissioner Singleton take it at our hard-earned money to bring it up there tomorrow to give it to Commissioner Henderson so she can present 200 gloves to those students at McCord, I believe it is, Element MLK, and that'll be done tomorrow. So thank you, City of Benton Harbor and residents, and you have a great night. Make a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
Support.
Motion made. Supported.
Commissioner Clark Griffin,
Yes.
Commissioner Edwards,
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner Isom,
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Seats.
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed, motion carried.
Reverend Pinckney said that tweet, says hello to everybody.
Good night.
Come over to that board.